Rachel stopped writing in 1959. Her mother, very old and very ill, died. Mrs. Carson had helped shape nearly all of her daughter's life. She had taught Rachel to love nature and encouraged her to be a writer. She had helped with every decision Rachel had ever made, except for a few years when Rachel was at college. And during the war years, they had always lived together. Now, for the first time, Rachel was alone. It was a terrible shock. A few weeks later, Oxford University Press told Rachel they wanted to publish The Sea Around Us. Again, they asked if she would add some of the new facts that scientists had learned in the 10 years since her book had first been published. Rachel went back to writing, working through one illness after another. First it was the ill, then a painful stomach ulcer, arthritis, and infections in her knees kept her from walking for months. An eye infection made her blind for a few weeks. So many bad things were happening that Rachel said she felt like she was under an evil spell that would never let her finish Silent Spring. Worst of all, she learned that she had cancer and that it was going to kill her. Another person might have given up writing, but Rachel said, knowing the facts as I did, I could not rest. Now she studied about cancer, as well as pesticides. These facts went into new chapters about how poisons in the environment cause cancer. Did she have time to finish Silent Spring? She had to. A life on Earth was in danger, not just her own. Early in 1962, Silent Spring was done. After 4 years, the article no one would publish had grown into an enormous book, beautifully written and full of complicated scientific ideas. What would it work as? A warning. Would it make people want to change things? Marie sent Silent Spring to Rachel's publisher and to the New Yorker magazine. Rachel wanted to hear what the editors thought. Within a week, she got a late-night phone call. Mr. William Shawn, editor of The New Yorker, had just finished reading her work. He couldn't wait until the 51 next morning to tell her how wonderful it was. He was horrified by the things he had learned from Silent Spring. How could this have happened? What could be done about it? That was exactly what Rachel wanted to hear. She knew now that Silent Spring would work. Rachel picked up her cat and walked stiffly into her study. In spite of all her sickness, Rachel had reached her goal. Finally, she could rest. She put on a classical record, sank into a deep chair, and cried with relief. Rachel didn't get much of a rest. When parts of Silent Spring were printed in the New Yorker a few months later, it shocked the whole country. Readers sent thousands of angry letters to newspapers, to the chemical companies, and to the government. As Rachel had expected, pesticide makers were furious. Men from the chemical companies and the Department of Agriculture argued with her in newspapers, magazines, the TV, and radio. Some tried to prove her facts wrong. Others said she didn't know enough about science to understand the things she was written about. One said her book is even more poisonous than pesticides. President John F. Kennedy asked for a special report from top scientists to decide who was right. When the report came out, it agreed with Rachel. New laws were made to limit chemical pollution in the United 52 states and to find other ways to control insect pests. Awards and offers to travel and speak flooded in to Rachel. She was too sick to do very much. She worked to make her article about children and nature to a book. She never finished it, but The Sense of Wonder was published after she died. Even though she was in pain most of the time, Rachel agreed to be on television. Many thousands of people had read her book, but on TV, she could tell millions more about the danger of using to zero many pesticides. On the same show, a man from a chemical company tried to prove she was wrong. Rachel was still a nervous speaker, but she knew her facts were true. She said, "Man is a dart of zero archer, and his war against Narura is a war against himself." The viewers believed her. Silent Spring was published in dozens of other countries in 1963, no matter what language it was printed. And the message was the same. We must be more careful about what we do to the earth. Around the world, new laws were made about pesticides. Rachel spent the next summer in Maine. One afternoon, she and Dorothy Freeman sat at the top of a rocky cliff near Rachel's house. They listened to the sounds of the sea below them and watched monarch butterflies heading south for the winter. As the But-53 rarefies danced along the cliff's edge, Rachel and Dorothy wondered how many would ever be back. Most would never live to return. They realized the two friends were not sad about it. It was how life was for butterflies. Later that day, Rachel wrote a note to explain to Dorothy what those fluttering bits of life taught me. Kai's morning, she said she had found a deep Pineson knowing that it is a natural and not un happy thing that a effect comes to its end. A few months after Rachel returned to Silver Spring, her own life came to its end. She died on April 14, 1964. But the work of her books went on. Her writings about the sea showed how all life was tied together. Silent Spring showed how the future of all life depended on what we do. Over the years, Rachel Carson's love of nature and her beautiful writing have helped to change the way a world of people looks at the life of their planet. 55.